Good evening to all of you. My name is Nabam Juliana from Arunachal Pradesh. Today I'll be representing the province of ING, India. First of all, I would like to thank all of the sisters for giving me this big opportunity to express my emotion during this pandemic. Now, I would like to share with all of you my personal experience during this pandemic. So, first of all, to be honest, I was really happy when I heard that mm, my classes were postponed. I was relieved. I was relieved that I don't have to write any notes anymore. I was relieved. But as time went on by, this comfort, this relief of mine started to feel like a burden, a heavy weight on my shoulder. And somehow, with time, that burden started to take the form of fear of what might tomorrow bring, what would happen. Will I ever able be to write these exams? Will I pass with good marks? I was really scared. But more scared than me was my father, who has a big fear of germs, and he would sanitize every little thing in our house, from the smallest of things to the largest of things. He would keep on sanitizing them again and again, and I was really scared to see that face of him. and I feel really privileged that somehow we were able to manage financially during this pandemic, as many of the poor people around the world are having such a tough time during this pandemic. But somehow, with God's grace, we were able to manage. With the negative things, there were some positive things too, as I was getting more closer to my siblings who would go outer state to for their higher studies, and somehow during this pandemic we were more closer than ever. And as time went on by, my online classes started, and I was really happy. I was relieved that somehow there is a ray of hope. And I would write every notes down. I would sincerely write every one of them down. I would attend every one of the class. And but with time, out of my old habit, somehow I was getting lazier and lazier. I was lagging behind all the notes. I would sleep during my online classes, and that was the part when I started to blame myself for what I have become, for being so lazy. But the next time I would do the same thing again and again. With this, I was also lazy in prayer. But my father, who's a very religious man, a God-fearing man, he would tell us to pray every night. He would tell us, even though when we got lazy, he would tell us to pray again and again, tell our own feelings to God. And somehow it had given me some kind of relief in myself, a hope that was dead. I would also like to recommend a movie, a very beautifully written movie called Soseng Redemption, about a falsely accused man and his life in prison. One of the dialogues in movie was, "Hope is a good thing, maybe the best of things, and no good things ever die." And it gave me a kind of faith that I really needed at the time, and I would recommend to all of you who had lost hope during this pandemic. Also, the other day, I just heard that Father said a sermon saying that a man without hope is a man who is lifeless, and I agree with that saying 100%. And I would like to say that every one of us should have a source of hope. It can come in many ways, it can come in many forms, in friends, family, in prayers. So we should keep on hoping during this pandemic, because it's a hard time for us. So we should keep on hoping every now and then. Also, lastly, I would like to thank all of my sisters for giving me this opportunity again. Thank you.
I'm Vajini Selvina, a 15 years old and a student of Little Farm School in Fa. For the past months, I've seen and heard untold human suffering and death. Like many other adolescent girls, I cannot go to school to learn and play with my classmates due to this pandemic. However, the whispering words of Julian poet comforts me. Quote, "You can cut all the flowers, but you cannot keep spring from coming." Unquote. I chose hope and believe that tomorrow the school bell will ring and the classes will resume. During this difficult and scary time, I'm trying to be the guiding star in my family. I teach my younger siblings their lessons and solve their problems. In this process, my relationship with my family members becomes much stronger. As we know, family is the simplest and smallest unit of society and the real function of culture. The pandemic prevents us from doing our normal activities. However, during the pandemic, an interesting chapter in my life unfolds. That is gardening. For the first time, I grew flowers, fruits, and vegetables under the watchful eyes of my mother. Grateful to the opportunity that makes me feel like the earth and taste its goodness. Louis Philippe, the King of France, once said, "When darkness is at its darkest, a star shines the brightest." Unquote. Likewise, in this pandemic, let us be the star that shines the brightest. Thank you all. Stay safe.